And then, of course, and this one is just so classic. Here's what I heard an old woman say picking up her sleep medications at the pharmacy, and in the line in front of me. She goes, you know, I use these things, but I still can't get to sleep. My doctor would just scream if he knew I was having a glass of wine with my sleep medicine. And I wanted to say something, but of course I didn't. But alcohol is one of those things that people try to use to just go to sleep and have a good night's sleep. What's wrong with that?
Well, it is true that many individuals do rely upon a glass of wine or other alcohol to help encourage sleep. And in moderation, it may not necessarily be a big problem for some individuals. Alcohol does induce drowsiness in most people. The problem is that after an hour or two, the individual has metabolized the alcohol off, and chronic alcohol use can actually disrupt and fragment sleep. The individual has a tendency to wake up 2, 3, 4 hours later, and of course you can see that that could lead to a cycle in which the individual then wants to take another drink in order to return to sleep, and you could get into a problem there.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're an alcoholic or crazy, but listen, not sleeping can cause you to be a desperate human being and resort to some things that aren't necessarily healthy and helpful. So just remember to see a sleep medicine specialist about that. Well, now I do want to talk about narcolepsy. And narcolepsy, would you describe what that is?
Well, as we said earlier, narcolepsy is a neurologically based sleep disorder. It causes excessive sleepiness no matter how much sleep the individual received the night before. Narcolepsy gets covered sometimes in TV and movies, and it's sort of given rise to the expression that it's a funny sleep disorder that's no laughing matter.
Absolutely.
It's actually a very serious disorder. We tend to think of it as a rare or unusual problem, but it's actually not that unusual. Narcolepsy occurs in about 1 in every 2,000 people in the general population, and that means that we have hundreds of individuals in the greater Memphis area with narcolepsy.
Bless their heart.
So it is not so uncommon that that we never see it. We actually see it on a regular basis in a sleep disorder center.
What are the 4 red flags for narcolepsy?
Well, the 4 cardinal symptoms that we tend to see with narcolepsy are, number 1, excessive sleepiness. And it's typically there on a daily basis, and it can be quite disabling. Individuals with narcolepsy can experience a problem known as sleep paralysis. And what this means is, as the individual is drifting off to sleep or as they're awakening from sleep, they feel stuck or paralyzed.
Physically.
Physically. They are awake and can hear what's going on around them, but they are unable to move or speak. The problem can be quite frightening. It usually lasts for anywhere from a few seconds to perhaps a minute or two, and then ends, but that is known as sleep paralysis. Now, I need to add that sleep paralysis can also occur in individuals who do not have narcolepsy.
Right.
So it's not entirely specific to narcolepsy. There is a familial form of sleep paralysis that runs in families. Okay. The third symptom of narcolepsy is called hypnagogic hallucinations. And these that's right, and these are unusual but often very vivid visual or auditory experiences that have a dreamlike quality. And in essence, the individual is having a dream experience while they're also awake. It tends to occur as the person is drifting into sleep or as the person is arousing out of sleep. And they will have vivid visual or auditory experiences, but they are awake.
It's so frightening.
Yeah, and that is hypnagogic hallucinations. The final symptom is known as cataplexy. Cataplexy is a sudden onset of weakness. It usually is bilateral and involves both sides of the body.
It's like sudden like that.
Very sudden onset, and it can involve just a feeling of weakness or a head nod, or it can involve all of the muscles, and the individual may literally fall to the ground. It tends to be brought on by a sudden emotion, for example, laughter, fright, surprise, or anger, or elation. It can be a positive or a negative emotion, but that is what often precipitates cataplexy. Cataplexy occurs when the person is awake, so it's a waking phenomenon. So when individuals have chronic excessive sleepiness plus cataplexy, it's almost always narcolepsy.
Gosh, well, I hope that if you're listening and you have that you'll understand that we know about it and that we can do something to help you with it.
That is an extremely important point, because many individuals with narcolepsy are reluctant to talk to their doctor about it or seek help.
They feel crazy.
That's right. The symptoms are unusual or even bizarre, but narcolepsy is not caused by a psychiatric problem. It is a neurological problem with rather unusual symptoms.
Exactly. Well, we're almost out of time, so I do want to talk about how we treat or manage excessive sleepiness.
Well, that's a great point, because these are treatable, manageable problems. The first step, of course, is to obtain a diagnosis so that we know what we're treating. If the problem is a scheduling issue, we can certainly counsel the patient on how to address that problem. If the problem involves a primary sleep disorder, such as obstructive sleep apnea or narcolepsy, then there are specific treatments for those disorders.
And they're all different. Treating narcolepsy and treating sleep apnea are not the same.
That's quite correct.
Okay, well, I hope that our audience has a new understanding of the seriousness of excessive sleepiness. And it's a real condition, and it's very treatable, so I hope that that gives hope to someone out there. And Dr. Wise, thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
And for a great conversation. And I'm Susan Gray, and this has been The Power of Sleep.
WYPL TV 18 was proud to present The Power of Sleep, sponsored by Methodist Sleep Disorders Center, offering a free community education seminar Tuesday, July 14th at the Jewish Community Center. This seminar features a physician speaking on an important sleep-related topic. Admission is free and open to the public. The seminar begins at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 14th. More information can be found at www.methodisthealth.org or 901-683-0044. Methodist Healthcare, embracing the miracle of life.